Hello everyone, the Klaus here, and today guys I'm going to review a Megabloks Dragons Universe set released in 2011, and it's going to be the Raven Speeder. So here we go. So for those who do not really know this theme, well, it's really simple. It's a theme set in a futuristic universe in which two sides are fighting each other. So the side of the humans, called the Alliance, and the side of some dragons, called the Predators. So of course both these sides got some height, height advanced ammunitions or weapons or vehicles, as you can see. So for example, like the speeders for the Alliance. And so that's said, here's the box you can see with the Dragons Universe logo. Of course, the background with the glowing blue planet. Of course, also on the box is really shiny and glowing, which is quite cool. Of course, really an eye-catching feature, I think. Then you got some information right there, so with the number of parts, and this set got the highest number of parts of all the speeders sets, so that's one thing interesting to know. You can also notice the QR code, which is useful to, well, you scan this thing with your smartphone, and you got some information on the set, like its storyline and stuff like that, I think. Of course, you can see the Raven right there, and the drop pod, which pops out literally of the box, as you can see, which is also a nice feature, but not really new for Megabloks, because they're really used to do this type of stuff before. So on this side you see the Alliance logo and also the picture of Trooper Lucius, the guy who pilots, the Raven. The other sides are not really that interesting. And then on the back it shows you once again the Raven, but this time without the pilot on it, as you can see, because it's here. And you can also see the logo or insignia of Trooper Lucius, which will appear on his right shoulder. And that said, here you got all the 6 little sets released in the first wave of 2011. So the 3 dragons that I have already reviewed Wednesday, and the 3 speeders. So I have already reviewed the Albatross and the Colt yesterday and the day before. So, well, in fact, the Raven is the last set I'm going to review for this first wave of 2011, or at least the last little set. But, well, let's move on to the instructions first. So you unfold the paper. You got the instructions in like 5 steps, which are really clear with part counts and stuff like that. So it's really easy to build this thing. And then you're going to have the parts list right there in case you miss or you have some broken parts in your set. Well, I did not have any problem with the sets personally, but you can order them for free on the Megabloks customer service website. Then on the other side you got a poster which shows you, which recap in fact all the soldiers from the Alliance side. Of course, there are also soldiers from 2010 and 2011 mixed together, and the same can be said for the Predator side with all the dragons released in these 2 years. On the bottom you can see those 4 mid-sized, or well, even big-sized aerial vehicle. And on the upper side you can see the dragons with a Dragon Rider, one of the new features of 2011. That said, now it's time to move on to the set. And first, well, not really the set itself, but more like a little feature, which is the drop pod. Well, it's got a specific name, but I'm just going to call that the drop pod for the sake of this review. So it's the Ravens one, and well, as you can see here, it's one from 2010. And well, the mod in fact is the same, it's just the color which changed. So this means the upper part is black, it's trans black, and the the lower part is just black, normal black, so no transparent color or anything. And well, that's a new color because previously it was blue, red, and yellow. So of course the blue and red color were reused for the Albatross and Colt speeder set, and well, also they were yellow, and of course here the Raven is not yellow, so this means we're going to have some black color. So this part can be divided in 2 sections, like that. On the upper side you can notice 4 studs and 1 pinhole, and also 1 pinhole on this part, but no studs on the inside, as you can see. So well, So not a new mold, but still pretty cool, and the color scheme really is quite fine. Of course, it's black, so it's pretty classic, and it's pretty also really nice. That said, now let's move on to the minifigs. So, well, minifigs, the figures. So, Trooper Lucius, right there. So, of course, it's a Trooper mold. This means it got this type of helmet, because the only differences between the previous ranks of the Trooper of the Dragon's Universe soldiers is their helmet, which got some details which change, because most of the time the body is all the time the body is the same except for the Dragon's Riders, but that's another story. So well, the mold is the same as 2010, it's just the color which changed, in fact, because before it was silver and dark gray and silver, and this time it's more like copper, gold and black, which is really cool because of course it's a contrast between two colors, one bright color and one dark. So you can notice the little printed Alliance logo on this shoulder, and on the other side it's the rank or the insignia of the soldier, and each trooper got a different insignia, so it's really cool to have them all unique, at least for their insignia, because of course they all got the same type of helmet, bodies and stuff like that. So in terms of articulation, well, you got one ball joint per shoulder. This means you can move these things the way you want. Then per elbow you got 1 point of rotation, which can be turned a little up to this point, so not really 90 degrees, but just a little before that. The end, of course, can turn. The head can be moved up, not really down and on the sides, but of course, because of the shape of the armor, it's forced to look up, as you can see. Then you got the waist or pelvis part, which can be, which got a rotation point, which is quite useful if you want to add some more dynamic pose. And then you got one ball joint on this point, and one rotation point for the knee. And once again, it's quite like the elbows. You can turn this up to 90 degrees, but just a little less than that. Finally, on his back, which is quite useful to link the shield or the weapon, even if in this set it will not be useful, and I'm going to explain why. Right now, in fact, because it's time to move on to the weapons. So we got not one, but two weapons in this set. And these are two of this type of this weapons. So this type of kind of rocket launcher laser thingy. So as you can see, we got the handle right there, and of course this is just the frame of the weapon, because we've got two holes to put two cannons or laser parts in there. The only problem, in fact, is that, like I said, you got two of these weapons, but you just got two of these lasers instead of four, because as you can see, we got two holes per weapon. So, well, you were supposed, I guess, the right choice was to have four lasers, but no, they just give you two lasers. So I guess it's for the well, price and stuff like that, because there are already many parts in this set. So that's maybe an explanation, and I think that's the explanation, but it's still a little well, not really that good to have two weapons, but just two lasers. So of course you can just put off this thing. And here we go, you have the completed weapon, which is supposed to look like that. So excuse me, I'm just going to look for something. But yes, like I said, in this set, we're going to have just two of these weapons, which will be, by the way, used on the speeder. And so yeah, like I said, as you can see, we just got one handles, unlike most of the Dragon's Universe weapons, which got two handles, one of course to put the hands on, and the other handle is mostly useful to put it on the back of the soldier, thanks to this hole. But here, as you can see, you can't put this thing on the back, so this means the hole is useless to put the weapons. And also, you have to notice that in this new speeder set, the soldiers do not come with any shields. This means, well, before that, in 2010, you can still use the holes to link the shield, but here, of course, because there is no shield, the hole on the back is totally useless. And so here we go, if you want to put the two lasers, the two weapons on the guy. So that's why I said it's a rocket launcher, because it's a heavyweight weapon, of course. Excuse me, a little glitch from my webcam, excuse me.
Well, and here we go. So now let's move on to the speeder itself. With first, of course, the speeder frame, which is not a new one. It's the same mold but recolored in black, which is quite cool. And of course, the usual silver part right there and the trans green core here. And as you can see, we got different points of connection on the front, on the side, on the back, and on the upper part. And of course, they will all come in handy to link parts and to make this speeder unique. So that said, let's first link the reactor, the jet reactor, which is quite simple because it's just one part. This one, which is not new. In fact, most of the parts are not new, but well, mostly recolors, or sometimes even not recolors. So here we go. Then I'm going to link this part on the back, this slab bricks right there, which as you can see follows the shape of the back of the speeder. And then I'm going to link some little parts. So first this one, then here, this one, and finally I'm going to add a little laser. I'm just going to, oh yeah, excuse me. And here we go, and now I just have to make these things 2 times, and I'm going to link this part right there in this holes on the side. And well, I guess that's all. Here we go. And now I'm going to link the most important part, the back part with the wings. Well, the rear part, excuse me. So first I'm going to use these little parts to have 4 studs at the same height, which will be quite useful. Then I'm going to link this part right there. So thanks to the studs I've just linked. Now I'm going to take this part, so this part plus this little one, link it like that. I'm going to add a wing part right here in dark gray, and finally I'm going to add these 2 little parts which I linked together here. Now I just have to link this part right there, and the final touch, this little transparent blue part which is curved and sloped right here. So as you can see, it will fit perfectly with the studs right there and the studs on the front. Now I just have to do this a second time, so I'm going to link this part here, and well, here's the wing, which is the same. It will be linked on the back. Finally, I'm going to add the final element of this speeder, the eagle's head. So of course it's not a new mold but a recolor. It was already released before in yellow, white and red, and now it's in black. Here we go. And well, now we are mostly done with the speeder itself, but it's time really to finish it. So well, here's the fig, little composition size. And now I just have to put off these weapons, link the guy in there, so you have to bend the legs, arms, link of course this guy on the handle, yeah, make him look straight in front of him. And finally, I just have to link the weapons on these 2 connection parts that I have linked before. Here we go. And we are done. The Wyvern is finished, so now I'm just going to move the wings like that. So
Here we go, and of course, the only real gimmicks is that you can move the wings the way you want, like that, for example, or this way. But I'm going to put them this way because this is how they are shown on the box art and instructions booklet, excuse me. So here we go. Now I'm just going to do the sum up, and I will show you all the 3 speeders of this first wave of 2011. But first, I'm just going to put the drop pod in the box, like that. Here we go. And so the waveform. So well, let's sum up. So well, first you got the pod. Of course, it's not a new mold but a new color, so all in black, which is quite cool. It's simple. It's not really that impressive, but at least it works quite nice, I think, for this type of well, of mold and colors. They really mix well, perfectly together. Then we got the set itself with the figure. So once again, the recolor is quite excellent with the 2 colors which really mix well. So the gold, copper, and the black, which are really nice to have some contrast, and are really cool in comparisons to the older ones, the dark gray and silver, which looked also pretty cool, but they are different and quite unique in their own style. The only complaint I have is the fact that even if they give you 2 weapons, like I said, they still just gives you 2 lasers instead of 4, which was quite needed to have 2 full completed weapons. So well, it's a little, I guess that's for the price and stuff like that, but it's still a little complaint. And also the fact that there is no shield in this speeder set is quite a little drawback in comparison to 2010. Then you got the speeder itself, and there is no real drawback on the speeder, so we can still complain about the lack of parts to cover the studs right there, or the jet reactor, which is quite simple, but overall it's one of the best speeder in terms of construction and even maybe in design, but in terms of building it's one of the best because of course it relies on many little parts, and so this means it's not just big blocky parts like the Albatros, and it's a little better in terms of construction than the Colt, which well, was a mix of little parts and big parts. Here it's mostly just little parts linked together, and well, I kind of like the little build right there, or the same can be said for the wings. So well, overall it's a nice little speeder, and maybe one of the best in an objective point of view because of the price parts count, price parts ratio, for example, or stuff like that. The only big complaints I think is maybe the fact that they are the weapons and well, stuff like that, but well, it's a great little speeder with nice color scheme, all in black, cool colors, so overall it works just fine. And so to conclude this review, I'm going to show you all the 3 speeders released in this first wave of 2011. So the first one I reviewed, the Albatros. It was the one with the less number of parts, so just 26 parts, mostly big parts, but really cool parts also. And well, it's a pretty unique vehicle in itself, kind of an heavyweight vehicle here to fire some big, with a big firepower. So well, its own style, and I kind of like it. I mean, the construction, of course, it's not that bad. It's pretty simple and pretty straightforward, but at least it's pretty original, and it's the only one to not be symmetric, as you can see, because it's just got the laser on one side. Then you got the Colt, which is supposed to be an evolved version of the previous speeder released as the Stallion. So of course you can figure out the weapon on the back, which was one of the Stallion trademark. And well, we made it in a nice way, plus the wings, which are pretty cool, and of course it's also the only vehicle to own the horse head in white. So overall, nice little vehicle. And finally, like I said, the Raven, which I think well got got most of the parts, and excuse me guys, I'm kind of lost in my word, kind of lost in my tracks. So yeah, and the Raven finally, which is quite cool because well, you got many little parts, nice construction, and once again a pretty unique design. So overall, the speeders are quite cool. They really are a nice evolutions in comparison to the 2010 speeders, so they are not the same, and they are all unique in their own style. So seriously, it's a really good wave of speeders. So really a nice first wave for 2011 in terms of speeders. Really great, unique designs. Interesting in terms of construction. So well, overall, great little sets. Of course, they are not all perfect, but well, if you they are all pretty nice and pretty unique. And that will be all, guys. So hope you enjoy this review on the Waven, and of course also hope you enjoyed all these reviews on the 6 little set, because remember, I have already reviewed the 3 little dragons Wednesday, and I have already reviewed the Albatross and the Colt days before the Waven. So well, no, the only problem is that there is no more Dragons Universe sets in my area, in my region, so I have to wait for the other sets from the first wave, like the mid-sized Dragons Battle Packs and the mid-sized spaceship. But well, before that, of course, you at least got the 6 reviews, well, the reviews of the 6 little sets. And that's it. Hope you enjoy. If you have any questions or comments on the set or on the Waven specifically, especially, excuse me, well, feel free to ask. I will happily answer them. And that's it. See you later for another video review. Bye bye.